Good morning. How's everyone doing? We're gonna have a little fun today. I'm gonna answer all your questions. Sure. Who has a question? No one? It's gonna be a short meeting. Yeah, Millie. Are residents allowed to open or close the windows in the hallway? Sure. It's also going to be really hot today, so we probably want to keep the windows closed, but yeah. And security should close them at night, but sometimes that doesn't happen. But yes, you're more than welcome to do that. Yes. Well, when are they going to fix the TVs in the Brandywine Fitness Center? So remember when we talked about Spectrum and we were all so excited about this transition? Yeah, it's still going. So there's some common area TVs that are not hooked up. There's some conduit, especially in the Brandywine Fitness Center, that is not there. We're fighting with them, just like we're fighting with the in-house channels. The in-house channels, the primary thing. The in-house channel's not working. So remember the old way that we used to be able to view what was happening in this room and a movie at the same time? Well, you've all probably experienced not having sound. So switching from basically the movie channel to the live feed, for some reason it takes out the sound. So we have purchased a piece of equipment that's about $6,000 that should allow us to have those two channels and be able to go back and forth. So that's the primary thing. Then the fitness center is there. There's also some areas down in Ash Run that don't have common area TVs at this point. So we know it's there. I don't have a timeline for when it's going to be done. It's very annoying, though. It's been, well, remember we started this transition in March, so it's been almost 4 months. They were on because we were still paying direct TV or senior TV, and then when senior T went off, that feed went off. Can you turn your microphone off? Thanks. That the feed went off on that. So that's why the transition has been there. So we are aware, Eric is aware, he is working on it. It's just, we have to fight with Spectrum, and I think for the most part, the transition went okay. It's these loose ends that they just don't care about anymore. So.
We still get an email monthly from both Spectrum and from DirecTV. Now it says that nothing is due, but they're still billing us, or they're still sending bills.
So the comment is that you're still getting statements from DirecTV and from Spectrum. They say nothing is due. You're going to continue to likely get that from Spectrum. I think we can follow up with DirecTV to see if we can get you off of that mailing list. But as long as it says you have nothing, you just get some extra fun mail for the month.
Yeah, well, I can throw away the trash can or the mailbox too. So.
Perfect. You can throw that away. That's great. Yes, Pat.
Have you had any reports of replay on the DVR?
Like training?
No, it pixelates and stops, freezes optionally.
I've not heard that. So Pat's saying, Pat, your hair looks great, by the way. She's saying that the DVR pixelates, and my suggestion for you on that, Pat, is to call Spectrum, because there may be a feed in something in your DVR that needs to be reset. So the number is in the Touchtown app under Spectrum. Just call and see if they can send a signal to reset your DVR. can't handle this. I'm going to turn the microphone down. Okay, who's got the next question? Yes, Doris Lee. You can use your microphone.
And it's on your list.
It might be me. I'll stand. So the channels are 1851 and 1852 that are the in-house channels. Yes, Jean.
Did we or can we do a survey of guest rooms TV service? Friends use a guest room. I spent over an hour trying to get the TV to work. Finally realized I had to use the remote of the TV itself and change it to HMD2. The bedroom had a TV in it with no connection whatsoever.
Well, that's exciting. We can add that to our list.
Another trick that it would be helpful if somebody did look at those so a guest doesn't come in blind and be frustrated because the TV wasn't working
Sure.
at all. The problem is we plugged it in, so the Spectrum unit was plugged into a wall switch.
Oh, yeah.
So those things are tricky.
Angie, can you have security help us with that? Do an audit of the guest rooms, make sure the TVs work and they're not plugged into a wall switch. Good point, Jean. Thank you. Yeah, Lou.
Little questions for Angie, I guess. I put a work order in for the shower down in the by the pool for a double hose so we could pick it up, and they replaced it, and I thank you for that. But now it's fallen off the wall. The attachment has fallen off the wall.
Did you hear that one too?
Could they possibly fix that? Appreciate that.
Perfect. You did put a work order in for that?
Quite a while ago. I requested, I could double check. Maybe, but anyway, you could just have them attached.
Sometimes it's hard to know what to fix when you don't know it's broken. What else? Yeah, Mary.
So I'm not sure I'm writing to the right place on IT, but I've had a request in about every week for 3 weeks with no reply. There's no phone number to call. Right, sorry, there is a phone number to call, but no email under his name.
Okay.
So I've just been calling and leaving a message, like it's gone on about a month.
Well, that's not so good. Will you do me a favor? Can you send, we will fix that. We'll look into that. But to get your needs met, can you send an Ask FVD through Touchdown? And that comes to me and Seth, and then we'll distribute it to the appropriate person to get you fixed. But in the long term, we need to look at that and see how we can do a better job on that. Thank you for that suggestion too. Yes, Doris Lee.
One of the spotlights in my ceiling, the glass keeps falling out. And they keep, if I call, they'll come and put it back. But I'm tired of having them put it up and then it falls out again.
So spotlight, give me an example.
Like those up there, have a piece of glass,
Okay.
what falls off.
Hmm.
And then they put it back, and then I don't know what it is.
Maybe you have a ghost that's taking him off. Not the exorcist. We don't need that. Can you put another work order in? And Angie will, when it comes through, she'll make sure that we spend a little extra time on that one. Who's playing in the bocce tournament this week? Lou? No, is it next week? 2 weeks. Because there's a putting contest, a shuffleboard, and a bocce, correct? Who's going to go to the outdoor concert tonight? Oh, isn't that just the best?
Thank you for the great weather you have ordered.
Well, the weather has been pretty scrumptious. It might be a little warm tonight, but I think ice cream will help. That's right.
Where can we see fireworks
Where can you see? Not here. The TV will have them. Dublin, you can kind of maybe see some of them. They shoot them off in Kaufman Park, but we're not providing transportation over there. So if you wanted to go, you could do that. And then there's Red, White, and Boom downtown. So Upper Arlington, thank you. Upper Arlington also has. They shoot them out of what park? It's the one over off of Northam. I think it's at Northam. No? Upper Arlington has them. You can look online, see where they go.
Look at that way, like 10 o'clock at night, wherever you hear the noise, look at it, either that way or that way. We can normally see them.
Oh, you can see Dublin's from here. Oh. Oh, perfect. So, yeah, the Dublin fireworks will go up kind of over the bridge, if you will. But, yeah. Oh. Well, they're the best. They're the ones that end up in the emergency room with no fingers. Yeah. Yeah.
Macy's fireworks on your TV.
That's right. Right out of New York, right? The harbor. Or Boston Harbor has a nice one too, or I don't know if they still do.
It is Northam Park.
Northam Park.
Yep.
Look at us knowing things. What else? Yes, Joe. So in Works Hub, it's hard to get the status. Have you subscribed to Works Hub? Do you get an email that has a tracking number? No. Well, maybe this could be a town hall topic too.
Just real quick, yeah. So if you're entering a ticket through Touchtown, you will not get an email confirmation. You'll have to go in and look at your history, click on the history, and it will give you all of your tickets, and it'll tell you whether they're complete or in progress. But if you use just the software, you'll get an email confirmation.
So if you go directly into the Works Hub on your computer and you put your ticket in that way, you'll get a confirmation email. If you use the Touchtown, we kind of did a workaround on that, you will not get a confirmation email. So Lou's holding up her Touchdown. You will not get an email on that. You'll have to go in and automate and look and see where the issues are. I think we did talk about this as a town hall topic, so we'll get it. We already have July done, but we'll get it hooked up for August for you. Yeah. So I think your point is well taken, Joe, that there's a lot of options and there's a lot of tools to be able to get what needs to be done. We just probably need to help you streamline and understand where to go at what point might be helpful. So, and I think some people, I think we're moving into an era where there's a little bit more technology, but then there's some of us that really like the old school paper calling, things like that. So we're trying to find some options for everyone. But maybe Angie or Sally would be able to spend just a little time with you and show you how Works Hub works and maybe put it as a favorite on your computer so that you could monitor the work order status. Does that sound okay? Good. Yeah.
Is somebody gonna check the cabinets and particularly the laundry rooms in Riverstone because 2 of them are falling off the wall?
Yeah. Somebody gonna check the cabinets in the laundry rooms.
No, the ones that have fallen from the laundry rooms.
Yeah.
And nobody can get up there high enough to see if ours are attached.
And that was like a year and a half ago, correct?
That's another thing.
Recently?
Yeah, this just happened this weekend.
Well, that's exciting. Fire alarms and cabinets falling off. This is fireworks here at Friendship Village. Angie's got that written down. Thank you for that suggestion.
The exorcism might be needed.
Yeah. No, we don't need that. Joe, do you have another question? Okay. Fair. I think so Joe's comment is the announcements on Touchdown, we need to probably be a little more accurate on. He used the example of the farmer's market. The farmer's market has been a little delayed. The products or the actual vegetables are not growing as fast because of all the rain. But I did notice that they are in the cafe, so we can update that. But thank you for that suggestion. Lois, I see you still have your tattoo. Are you going to get a real one? No, just a fake one.
This was lasting quite nicely.
Perfect. Yeah, Pat.
Does it concern you that there are so many repairs to be done when we have put in the new facility and it's passed all the inspections and everything, and then it's a mess?
So the question is, does it concern me that we have so many repairs when we put in new facilities? And I think some of that is to be expected. You know, they just don't make products the way they used to. So washing machines have a shelf life of, 3 to 5 years, where I still have my grandma's washer and washer at my house. They just don't make them like they used to. So I think there are things, and they're automating now a little bit more of the process. So like the chillers and even our cars, for example, you can't use a wrench under the hood anymore. You have to use diagnostic tools. So does it bother me? Yeah. Is it going to go away? No. So we're just going to have to adapt to it. But it is a lot. And it seems to be, the other thing is it's more expensive, right? Like when you used to be able to use a wrench and replace it, that's great. But to have a technician come in and use the diagnostic tools and then get the chips, which we all know the chips are in China or Vietnam, I think is now where they're making them. So yeah, it is concerning. We are spending an absorbent amount of money right now on HVAC, so all of your air conditioners, which we typically do this time of year because the weather gets hot and you start to use them and then they just can't keep up. But we spend a lot of time talking about that. How can we be more efficient? What can we do? We've tried to hire an HVAC person. Good luck on that. So yeah, it does concern me, but there's not a lot that can be done.
Are they guaranteed?
So if you remember, Waterford was opened in March of 2019. We had it completed, let's just say, I think it was actually the end of the year. I can't remember all the details. There's one elevator in Waterford. Last Christmas, so that would be 2 years after Waterford opened, the one elevator broke down. And it was missing. Angie, what was the thing in the elevator that was missing? It was in the Waterford. It was the pump, or it was the last Christmas? It was the compressor that pushes it up. So that was 2 years. What do you think the warranty on that elevator was? 1 year. So not only was it down for 3 days, or actually it was more than 5 days, because the part had to come from New Jersey and it had to be expedited and they were closed. But it also was $15,000, I think, to fix it. So, and that's an elevator. That's a $250,000 purchase. So there are about 1 year warranties. Your HVACs are 1 year, and that's just on the compressor. If there's other issues, they're not in there. So we need to go back to the 80s where they make things a little bit more durable. Yes, Mr. Keller.
Follow on to that, Rita.
Mm-hmm.
When the village decides to buy something pretty specific in terms of its use, in terms of its installation, in terms of its maintenance, is there some due
Yeah, so the question is that when we buy a chiller, for example, that's $130,000, what do we use as our due diligence to make sure we're using the right product? So we do a little bit of everything. So we thankfully have been working with all these construction people and Don McCarthy, and Don McCarthy's job is really just to fix things, right? To build things and fix things. So he's been doing this for 40 years. He has a pretty good understanding of who in Ohio is a good resource for us. So like our roof that we did in Alderwood, he gave us a referral. We also do 3 bids. So anything larger than $50,000, we get 3 bids to make sure that we're kind of in the ballpark. So let me give you a real-time example. We're working on the generator for Alderwood. It's about a $400,000 investment. And most of our HVAC in this room was designed by a company called Hawa. We have experienced some challenges with some of our HVAC, so we are now looking at other HVAC electrical contractors. So we've used Hawa as a quote, we used Prater as a quote, and we used some other company, and I can't remember the name. So Don and Aaron kind of vetted the process, and we're now going to be using Prater to help us with the generator and other longer term issues. So big products like that, yes, we do vet them. I just think at the end of the day, you can vet them. And, Whirlpool makes all of the washers and dryers. They just put a different sticker on them. So it's the world we live in. But yes, we do work hard to try and be diligent to, like, what's going to last 40 years? What's the maintenance on it? What's the preventative maintenance on it? What's the service calls? Because that sometimes happens too. Like this elevator, we had to pay somebody to come out at holiday time to look at the elevator. We've since rectified that, but we look at all of those things. And I think especially, the construction piece is done through the construction team, but when it gets turned over to us, that's kind of when we really get in and figure out what are the service warranties, how do we do that, and any new products like the HVAC, the chiller, we're working on a chiller, the windows that are being done right now, those are all vetted really by our team. It's not perfect, but it's the process that we have. Yeah, Lou.
What's happening with the floors out here?
You don't like the fire alarms going off at 9:30 at night?
I heard about that, but why are they replacing it again?
So,
What have they done recently?
yep. So the hallway LVT, when they put it down 2 years ago, they put a glue on top of glue. So the old, what was there? Carpet. It was carpet that was there. When they pulled the carpet up, they just did a quick little sand of the glue. And what we found, especially in the service corridor, is the glue and the old glue that was on the floor and the new glue that was on top, they didn't really adhere appropriately. So they did this service corridor, and then actually Don and Aaron were like, we got to do it all. We're going to finish it up. We don't want it to pull up or anything like that. So it should be done Friday night is the last night. So I'm actually quite surprised that they left it the way it was because it's a pretty good trip hazard. So don't fall on it today.
We play Five Crowns, et cetera, there.
Mm-hmm.
And at least they got half of it done because one of our players got glue on their shoe the night before. So they're being careful.
Yeah.
They think they're helping. My question is the warranty covering that?
Yep. So we didn't pay for this. This was a manufacturing issue. Don and Aaron had a special person come out who looked at the floor and said, "This is an install issue." So the installer is coming back. That's why your fire alarms went off, because they used a really strong buffer, and all the dust got into the fire stuff. But I was saying, remember like 3 years ago, when the fire alarm went off like every 2 days? I mean, so it's just, we're reliving what we lived a couple of years ago.
Speaking of the fire alarm, I was with several people, and there was a lot of confusion about what to do when the fire alarm goes off.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what else we can do to help on that. It's been in town hall twice in the last 8 months. We provided you a card for what to do. It's there. So, it's really just going to take all of us in a situation like that to remind each other, like, stay in your apartments. If you're in a common area, stay in the common area. The doors should be shut. If the fire is in your apartment, go to the closest, fire containment area. We can put it back on the town hall agenda as a reminder in August, but a lot of it is just, and I think we are actually doing a drill, correct? Oh, we did a drill. When was that, March? April. Yeah, so we did fire department came and everything. Yes, Jean?
Well, on that also, I come back to the guest rooms. My guests call me, because I think we had some cards we distributed, maybe those need to be posted in guest, things like that. Guests don't go to town hall. They suddenly are here, it's something, TV, these other things, hospitality for them, maybe think through, how can we make sure they're informed?
Very good point.
But I didn't hear.
He said that we also need to look at the guest rooms for emergency purposes. Yes, Pat?
And the cards that you put out for pathways and the smoke,
Tornado and fire?
whatever, but it's very neat and all that, but it's extremely difficult and impossible to read for those of us who are losing vision. And you have, it's really a great artistic idea, but it would have worked 30 years ago. Right now, that's not going to be very helpful.
Fair. So we should maybe do some low vision when we hand out some larger cards or something when we hand out the fire and emergency response. She's saying that the cards that we did provide would have worked good 30 years ago, but some people's vision has changed as they've matured. Great. What else? Sure. So, Joe, do you have an example on that? Okay, yeah. Because the person who does the menus also does touchdown. So if there are some variances, we would love to see what those are and be able to correct them.
Oh, there's a quick point. Could they put the times on, where they have all the menus and everything? Could they put the time that the different restaurants are open?
Yeah. Can you take some notes for me? There's a piece of paper.
That would be very helpful. People have asked about that.
I feel like it's on the dining at a glance. It's on the bottom, but let me check on it because it is on there. Yeah.
It's on the second page, so it's on the second page when you get it on the dining in glance. You all get it in your box every day. When you get your dining in at glance, you all get it in your basket every week. On the second page, on one side, the big one that you get, on the bottom, it has all the times of all the restaurants on there.
But why couldn't it be right next to the restaurant as they do it?
It's just really, the layout's hard. We want to make sure that everybody can read what's on the menu, and that's our first thing is to have that on the menu.
I look your daily dining menus. Here. So you want to go on it's actually on your, it's on your dining at a glance. So it's not on here, it's on your dining at a glance. You mean just on the paper we get? Yep.
Right. So I would suggest, if you want to maybe put the dining on a glance, maybe put those hours on your refrigerator or somewhere where you can see it every day. So if you have any questions, you can always get there.
I think we can put it, we'll look on the Touchdown app and the culinary area, we can maybe put the restaurant hours if it's not there already. So we'll look at that and see.
You don't want to have to fish around, to figure out, well, it's here but not there.
Yeah. We need to hire a full-time communications person, don't we? We just increase your fees to 7.5. That's okay. What other questions, comments? This is good feedback. What should be on the town hall agenda for July? We have 2 open spaces. What do you want to hear about?
Are the windows done? Is 204 gonna have new windows?
The windows are done, the first phase. The second phase, the windows have been ordered, but we're not sure when they come. So we're hopeful, fingers crossed, we get it all done by Christmas time, but it may have to bleed over to the spring based on the availability of the windows. And that's for Brandywine and Ash Run, not Ash Run North, just Brandywine and Ash Run.
Ashburn North needs their windows cleaned.
Didn't we have the windows cleaned? Not in the north. So send a note on Touchdown to ESS and they'll come and clean your windows for you. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, we had our windows cleaned twice, a week apart, the whole west facing side of Brandon.
Well, it was your lucky month, wasn't it? He had his windows cleaned twice. Now, you can't complain next year when your windows don't get done. Yes, Doris Lee. For your inside of your windows, we call environmental services, or you can send a note in Touchtown and we'll get it forwarded to the right spot. And Steve's over here in the corner listening intently to the windows that he and his team are going to be cleaning. It is a free service, yes. I'm sorry, Doris Lee? The outside, Riverstone should have, your curtain windows should have been done. They can, when they come and do your windows, they'll open your windows. They can help with some of the outside stuff as well. Yes?
How do we know what the free services are?
You come to town hall.
Well, the reason I'm saying a recent widower was talking about even the laundry. He wasn't aware that he could get all his flat pieces done. So we educated him
Yeah, so your residency guide has a summary of things that can be provided and for cost. Yep, it has like somebody riding a bike.
that. I know.
Yes, that's where the tools are. And is anyone excited about, we're working on the life care document that I can't wait for you to see. So we are planning to roll it out to you on September 27th. So that's our line in the sand. Lee's done an incredible job with it. We've seen now 2 chapters of the 11 chapters. But the goal is to have it to a sample group of people for some feedback by the end of July, for them to give us some feedback, for it to go to the printers the first week in September, and for us to be able to provide it to you the last week in September. And I'm going to do a happy dance when it's done. This is the life care document that we've been referring to. So we always get a lot of questions. How does life care work? What happens in the community if I go to Alderwood or if I go to Waterford or home care services? What are those costs? What therapy services are offered? What does Ava do as the navigator? So this document is a high-level summary, written summary of how life care works at Friendship Village. And it will be followed up by monthly sessions on Alderwood, Waterford, home care, COPC, the navigator, emergency response. We have a whole year of educational components set up so we can better understand how life care works. We will even have a couple in the evening if you want to have your kids come, so we can really give a high-level summary of how life care works here at Friendship Village. Yes?
Excellent idea. A different way of approaching the same question, and perhaps this is included in that, is what did our going-in fee buy?
It's in there. So the comment is, what does your entrance fee get? What does your monthly fee get you? Your going in fee entitles you to life care. So, and that's what this document covers. So your entrance fee allows you for the same monthly fee to go through the continuum. It is actually very clearly spelled out in the document what types of life care are offered. And then really it's your monthly fee, because that's the thing that will change based on where you are in the community. What's included in your monthly fee, what would be an additional cost if you went to Alderwood or Waterford or Rowan House, and then if you wanted to stay in your apartment, what services are covered under your monthly fee, and then like home care, for example, would be an extra charge.
I would just mention that that's somewhat at variance with what we were told coming in, which was all we would be responsible for was an additional meal or two along the way. All other costs would be constant.
So that is the case. The only addition that you would have on that would be if you wanted a private room, because your residency agreement gives you a semi-private room. So if you wanted a private room, and then if you live in Waterford or Rowan House, there is a level of care. So included in your fee is a level 1 fee in Waterford or Rowan House. Level 2 would be an extra charge if you choose to stay there. Typically what happens is you move to Waterford and you stay there, and then when your fee levels goes up, your care is, you need a different level of care, so then you would move through the continuum. So I think Lee's done a really nice job of laying this out. I probably shouldn't talk about it because it probably creates a little confusion. But it's graphically and written, depicted what those charges are. Yes, Jean.
As you publish that, something I think would be helpful as we grow in technology as residents is to have it available as a PDF also to be searchable. Resident guide would be great to have in those kind of forms. So you can go find something specific a lot quicker than flip through pages.
Yeah, I think the resident guide is on Touchdown. It is not on Touchdown. Fair point. We'll make sure that we can get both of those for you. The life care obviously won't be done until September, but we can get the resident guide on there. I think Lee's working on updates to the resident guide as well. So things change quickly around here. Yes.
Development of my computer skills, but you have a password, a username and password in order to get on to,
Touchdown. Mm-hmm.
right, and then there's something else again, if you go on to
Reservations.
reservations.
So the comment is that it is a little confusing when you use the Touchdown app because you have a username and password to get into Touchdown, and that works. And when you put it in, you put it in. Then you have a username and a password to get into the reservation system, because the reservation system goes through a different app. It's not all built into the Touchdown app. So what we're trying to do is put everything in one area for you, so you don't have 6 different things to go to. But there's, unfortunately, the hard part of that is there are some workarounds. So Works Hub is an example. It's a workaround. The reservations workaround. What are some other things? COPC workaround. What is it?
Online shopping is another one. Like these
Yeah.
it's basically the app is giving you links to other things as a convenience, but you're still gonna have the logins for those.
Our goal at some point is to get the culinary services so the reservations are much easier, but we got too much fun happening in the culinary department right now. So once we get that stabilized, we can work on some of these other things.
What about the on-wall things that I'm getting when I'm trying to get onto Yahoo? This is something new that's come through, and I don't know if it's a spectrum issue or what, but it's about, if I go on Yahoo, it will say site not secure.
So Marianne's comment is that when she uses Yahoo, she gets a pop-up that says site's not secure. I can't answer that. Don't use Yahoo though, use Google. Yeah, Google is a better search engine. But you still may get that. I can't answer what you should do on that. Yes?
Is the life care the same as LCS?
No. Life care is not the same as life care services. Life care services.
Is the one you're printing, you're working on?
No. Lee and Jess and I have authored your life care document for you. So we have written it specific for life care here at Friendship Village using your residency agreement. You don't look disappointed, Pat. You haven't even seen it.
No, it worries me.
You should feel better with us doing it than LCS doing it. I can assure you that. Yes, Lou.
Just a little thing, but to me, it would be so helpful. When we go to new people, or it would be wonderful, and even for employees, to have everybody's picture on here. Yours is on, Steph's is not, others are not,
Yeah.
and then some of them take quite a while to pop in.
Yeah, we can work on the leadership team for that. I think the associates, it's just too hard. There's too much turnover on it, but we can get the leadership team on there.
Residents, when they first come in, if they could just automatically make it part of taking their picture, putting it in.
It is automatically when a new resident moves in. Some residents don't want their picture taken though, so and that we can't force that. But Jen does that. I think you are a perfect example, right? You had your picture taken when you got here. Your PCC was all set up, so it is part of the process for that. All right. Well, this was fun. Lots of good things for us to address. I still didn't get topics for town hall, though. What do you want to hear about? Yes, Joe?
Sometimes think there's too many topics. An awful lot of is thrown into the town hall lab, and I'm not so sure how what it gets assimilated. For instance, the master plan update. I just don't see any purpose in showing pictures of electricity water put in that type of and the expenses of other I would think.
What would the topics, so Joe's comment is that there's probably too many topics on the town hall agenda, and some of them he doesn't feel are beneficial, which one topic would be like the master plan, so the pictures of Rowan House and how it's evolving. So that's a good point. What topics would you like to see? Okay, perfect. We'll take suggestions if you have any topics on. We'll include the Brandywine IT on there and see if we can get a topic up on that. But if anybody has any topics, we'd love to hear them.
What ones do you have now?
What ones do we have now? We are going to talk about communication, the communication tools that we have, because that came up in our QARR meeting. We have a master plan update. Erin's going to come and give us that. We have Community Life is going to talk about Partners in Motion and therapy and the assessments to prevent falls, because we've seen a little uptick in falls recently. I don't know, I did this last night. Marketing is going to talk about they're having an event in a couple of weeks. So we have 16 apartments left, and we are excited about that. So they're going to give us a little update on that. I'll give you some other topics in a minute. Let's see. Ken, yes.
A topic that my residents found interesting that came out of the council meeting
Yeah.
is what will the generators in your area do for you, and what won't they do in the event of a power outage?
So that is an excellent question. What will the generators do and what will the generators not do? I would like to wait until we get the generators up and running to see what the load is on all of that. I know Steve has really specifically rearranged the load on the common area elevator, or excuse me, these common areas. But let's get the generators up and running, and then there's some electrical work that has to be done, but we can certainly add that to our future town hall. In the short, though, your generator will not do a lot. It's going to give you some hallway lights. There's red plugs in the hallway that will be used for oxygen or emergency purposes. We don't want to see extension cords plugging in your refrigerator. We don't want that. We just want to use those for emergency purposes, oxygen, nebulizers, things like that, CPAPs. The Muirfield room is fully lit, or excuse me, the Legacy is fully lit. We have your one elevator in Ash Run, one elevator in Brandywine. The HVAC is not on there. It was in the old Muirfield room, so the Brandywine Fitness Center will be cooled. The kitchen has some electrical stuff on it, so we can cook basic things. Gas obviously works, but there's basic topics or basic things on that.
Based off the distance from my nearest red plug to our CPAP machine, and we are buying lightweight extension cords to traverse that, and they don't cross the halls.
Yeah. That is a very good point. We probably should look at, because I don't think we've seen the end of these power outages this summer. I think we here at Friendship Village squeaked by. I did not squeak by at home, but we squeaked by here. But that's maybe something we should talk about. And we are adding two very large generators in the next year. And I think once that happens, you won't know that the power is out. You're going to know in your apartments, but you're not going to know in these common areas. So we can heat and cool these common areas, feed you in these common areas. Now, it's not going to be like a day in the park. It's going to be some disruption. Alderwood, Waterford, Rowan House will have no disruption. That's the goal. So, but we're not there yet. I think Steve really should be credited for recognizing that this honestly got a little short-sighted in the master plan, so we're going to rectify it. But both generators have been ordered. The Rowan House generator will be here in November, December. The Alderwood generator, it has been ordered, but they're 13 to 15 month lead times. Angie does have a backup, though, if we do have a power outage. There's going to be a nice big generator show up on a semi truck, and we'll plug into that. But we'll add that, especially with the extension cords. Yes, Marianne. There is a generator in Riverstone. It's actually in the garage. You may or may not have noticed it. It does, I don't know if it does the garage door. If the garage door doesn't work, we can manually open it, though. Yes. Yeah, we can even like in our house, there's that emergency thing. So, but same thing for Riverstone. Your hall lights are going to go, and your red outlets in your hallway. One elevator is on the generator in Riverstone. And if you have a friend in Riverstone, it sounds like the refrigerators are on generator power in Riverstone. Everybody's going to bring their food to all of you. Well, generators require a vent, so a gas vent, so there's no way for that to happen. So no, you cannot do that.
Can't back electricity out of the system without posing a risk to the people working on
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think you're gonna need your own generator. Like, your lights are not gonna be on, your TV is not gonna be on, your refrigerator is gonna be on, your air conditioning and heating is not gonna be on, but the common area stuff will be. So, in Waterford, God forbid we have this terrible disaster. We are a high risk area, so they're going to put a lot of effort on us. But Riverside last week or 2 weeks ago was under a complete generator power for, I think, 48 hours almost. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it's going to be uncomfortable when it happens. So, yes.
Problem for which there's perhaps a solution, separate garages on the property can't be opened from the outside, and without electricity, they can't be accessed. So.
There's a man door, isn't there? Isn't there a man door on the side?
Like my garage, I have a key for the side door.
As do I don't know how common that is.
You have a key?
Everyone.
All the garages have a door to get in. But you have a key, and we have extra keys. Yeah, we'll have extra keys. Yeah. We can spend a lot of time talking about when the world ends, but we will be as prepared as possible, and even if we are prepared, we are not going to get it right. So the important things, I think, are to make sure that you have oxygen, you can run your CPAP. If you have medications that need to be refrigerated, we're going to be able to do that for you. You're going to bundle up in the winter, and you're going to strip down in the summer. We've got extra fans. We even looked at those last week to see, not enough, but we probably have 150, somewhere between 50 and 100 fans. So let's hope the power doesn't go off and it goes off for a short amount of time.
All those fans won't be any good unless power works.
Well, we have the red
Well, the
one.
generator, generator will run some of them. So we have some IT updates as it relates for Town Hall. We have Spectrum, your in-house channel, your DVR training that we've been talking about, if we can get the in-house channel working appropriately. We have an environmental services update, and that is the fun that we are going to have next week or 2 weeks from now in Town Hall.
Expand on that IT really presentation of what they do and not do, what their fee structure is.
Yep, we can review that. I think, again, that was in Town Hall in this fiscal or in this calendar year, so we can review that as well. I think sometimes we try to put different topics on the agenda that maybe haven't been reviewed. But if there are specific things that you would like to hear again, we certainly can do that. But there also, I think, was a memo that was communicated with the fee structure for IT. But we'll go back and pull those slides out, and we can add them into this town hall. Well, this was fun. Thanks for the feedback. Nice to see you all. Have a great day. Have fun at the concert tonight.